Hey guys, welcome back to Hobbies by Holly. This piece has a really fun story behind it. It actually belonged to my mother-in-law and it had been sitting in my garage for a while I was trying to decide what to do with it. And then a client came over who fell in love with it and asked if I could refinish it for her in my signature white with a faux wood top. And so that's exactly what we did. Let me walk you through the whole process. So I started with a thorough clean using Crud Cutter, and then I removed the hardware. I knew right away I wanted to keep the original hardware on this piece. My client had requested that we paint it champagne bronze, and so that's exactly what I did later. And so once everything was clean, it was time to move on to sanding. Since I knew I was going to be painting the whole piece, I started with a 120 grit, just enough to make sure that I roughed up all of the top and sides so paint would adhere. And I still love using my first sander ever, my mouse detail sander. It's great to get into all those edges and corners that an orbital sander just can't reach. The bottom drawer was missing a small piece from both sides, so I had to completely rebuild with Bondo the two edges for the drawer. The drawer bottoms had a slight slope to them. They weren't a straight, clean edge. So I thought this was a good time to get out my orbital sponge that adheres to my sander, and that way the sander could kind of mold to the edges. And finally, she was ready to prime, but I noticed before starting that my spray tint was getting quite dusty, so I thought this was a good time to sweep it out so I didn't get any excess dust. I always tape up the edges of my drawers to protect that beautiful dovetail edging. I used Ben Shellac primer. This is an oil base that I get tinted in a gray. At Lowe's, they'll do this for you. That way, when you do paint, you can see a difference between the original primer and if you're using white paint. The one thing is, it's a little messy to clean up since this is oil-based. So I've shared before my remedy to run mineral spirits through my sprayer and spray it into a cardboard box. And this helps to clean it out and be able to use it for future painting. Since I keep the drawers in, I keep these screws in all of the little hardware holes, so it makes it easy to pull out and do any touch-ups in between. I always sand between coats using a 220 grit, and a lot of times after you add primer, you're able to really see any of the dents and dings that are on your piece. And so that's when I got out my Bondo glazing putty and got to work. As you can see, there were quite a few to fix, but this Bondo glazing putty works wonders, and it's super easy to put on. It dries quickly, and then you can just sand it and you're ready to go. For my second coat of primer, I moved to the synthetic shellac, and this one's much easier on the sprayer. The reason I started with the oil-based for the first round was because this is dark wood and you have to be so careful with any tannins bleeding through, so the oil-based really helps protect that. So the second coat, I used the Bin synthetic shellac and gave it a good sanding afterwards. Even with 2 coats of primer, I still noticed some tannin bleeding through on the front drawer. So I went in with a Bin spray can to spot prime that specific area. And this one is the oil-based shellac again, so it definitely will seal in those tannins. And once everything was properly primed, it was finally time to paint. And I used HGTV Cream Delight by Sherwin-Williams. This is a cabinet paint, which I love because it's very durable and you don't have to add a top coat. So after I sprayed 2 coats, the body was done. And now for the top. My client wanted that faux driftwood finish that I've done on several of my pieces before. So to get that look, I make my own homemade chalk paint using Coastal Villa latex paint, and I just add some water and plaster of Paris, stir it all together. It does gum up a little as you apply it, so you have to sand it once it's dry to get that smooth, weathered texture. You can already start to see that driftwood look forming even before staining. For stain, I use Minwax Dark Walnut and carefully paint it on with one of my throwaway brushes. I paint it on the whole top and wait about 8 minutes and start working on the area that I first applied it, and get a t-shirt and start pulling off the stain. This step is really labor intensive, but it's what gives you that authentic weathered driftwood look. So I worked it until I got it exactly the texture and tone I wanted. And once I was happy with it, I let the top dry for a full 2 days before moving forward. I noticed a few paint drips that had dried from the previous day's painting, so I got out my 220 sanding block and sanded it down, and then used my Bin spot primer to reprime and touch it up. While the top was drying, it was time to move on to the drawers. They definitely needed a liner, and my client had picked out the prettiest drawer liner. It has lots of soft pink and gold tones to match the bedroom that this will be going into. After 2 days, everything was fully dry, so I added a top coat using polyacrylic for protection. It's always so satisfying to remove the tape and see that it did the job it was supposed to do. And for the wheels, I decided to just let them stay their original color. I feel like it was very vintage looking. My last project, I did paint the wheels because they were pretty beat up, but these were in good shape. So I just got out a scrubber and polished them up and removed a little bit of paint that had gotten on them. And then it was time to add back the drawers. And I didn't show it, but I had actually spray painted the hardware using a champagne bronze metallic spray paint, and it was dried and ready to be added. And here she is, Cream Delight body, dark walnut driftwood top, champagne bronze hardware, and that gorgeous pink and gold drawer liner inside. This piece went from sitting in my garage with no plan to becoming exactly what my client envisioned for her home. I can't wait to show it to her. I love how every piece I work on ends up with its own unique story. If you enjoyed this transformation, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for new videos every week. I have more exciting projects coming up, and I'll see you next week.